So we gotta talk about a guy that's been at the top of the board. He's been there for a while now because he has all the physical tools and he's been impressing a lot of people. And he's came up on my favorite team's radar, and that's really what inspired me to make this video. We have to talk about Armand Membou and if and why numerous of draft experts are talking about him, but he's still a sleeper even at the top of the draft. Let's get right into the video. Armand Membou is a tackle from Missouri that's really captivated a lot of people's attention. But let's go back and deep dive a little bit into his backstory. He hails from Lee Summit, Missouri, right there. Okay, he was a 3-star recruit in high school in the 2022 class. He played defensive line before transitioning. That's very key. He transitioned from the defensive line to the offensive line in his high school career. Then in his recruiting journey, he chose Missouri over Iowa State, Nebraska, and even Illinois. This guy had a fruitful recruiting season. Now, he was projected as an early developmental prospect, but he rapidly ascended. There at Missouri, he was a freshman, a redshirt freshman, where he got his first full-time start at the right tackle position. He played all 13 games, starting in 12, helping Missouri get to 11-2 and even to a New Year's Six bowl. In that season, he only allowed 1 sack according to PFF. Okay, the coaching staff praised him for his high IQ, hand placement, and even his anchor strength. Now let's get into his strengths and what make him such an attractive prospect and what he's been taking along his entire football career. I will characterize him as a athletic tackle. He's going to always be in position. His feet are phenomenal, and his athleticism, you can see him in that transition he made from defensive lineman to offensive lineman. We got to give him credit for that because that's 2 completely different positions, and you have to be completely athletic and some type of coordination in order to make that change and do it in the SEC and do it at the starting line position. Along with that athleticism, that grants him, unlocked abilities such as great mirror ability, just great footwork. He's, like I said, he's always in position with his blocks. Also, he thrives in the space. Give him an outside zone, give him a screen, give him a toss. He will be there in front of the linebacker, even the DB. He has the athleticism to stay in front of anybody, and I do mean anybody on the football field that will be in front of him. Along with being in front of people, he does maintain a great football position, a great football stance, a great, just being in position, with enough leverage to make a block and to get some type of uplift and forklift on the blocks. He has initial technique in his blocks that you can see. Okay, you can see it in the beginning. Also, with that athleticism, you can see him have high IQ like the coaches see. I see him in the half-man slide in the zone schemes and everything like that. He never is a guy who gets overly committed on blocks. He sees the block happen, and that proves to his, advance, because he's such a athletic prospect that if he can see it, he definitely make any block that he sees fit. Now, here are some key weaknesses, and these are the weaknesses that, to me, knock him down my board, and this what keeps me from seeing him as one of the best prospects. He is up there, but I'm talking about being the apex predator or the apex tackle or apex lineman in this draft. First of all, a lot of scouts, which I do not agree with, they do this all the time. They automatically want to kick tackles into guard, and they just want to do that because I think they believe guard is an easier position than tackle. As a former offensive lineman, I encourage people to not look at one position being better than the other because we value one position better than the other. We need to look at these positions as dynamically different, period. We have to look at them dynamically different. The interior with the guards is just a functional different position than the tackle. I always say this over and over again. Tackle is like fighting on an island, and it's like jousting, and you only got so many hits, or whatever side it's gonna be a quick winner. Versus in the interior, it's like fighting in a phone booth. You have to be, unclaustrophobic. You cannot be afraid of fighting within, a closet, being able to have that close grip strength, being able to just have many stalemates and have many anchors. It's just a lot happens in the interior. So one of my biggest weaknesses with him and with scouts is that he can go into the guard. I don't believe that, because his biggest weakness, I don't believe he's a very strong offensive lineman at all. Okay, not saying he can't get better at that, but I'm saying just raw strength ability, I don't see it. Why do I say that? It's a couple of things. You can always catch it. For one, he always catches. When I mean that, he allows the momentum to come to him, and he wants to wrestle a bit and get the guy and win the rep. Okay, instead of initiating, or sometimes he does initiate, but he doesn't possess this strength or the confidence in his strength to then, just take over the block and actually, control the block. I don't see a lot of times him controlling or having full control over the block. It's either he wins by position or it's a stalemate. And I feel like that's somebody that can, if I literally just mention those things to you, guards should never be in the cards. Also, another big one of his weaknesses is his hands. And it's not just the strike, being able to strike with the hands. I understand you need strength to do that. Being able to grab with the hands, the vice grip strength. I understand you need some stuff, you need strength to do that. I just don't think he's well coordinated with his hands in general. And it comes back to what I said before, that he transitioned from the defensive line to the offensive line. The hand technique for a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman is the same, but it's two sides of opposite of the pendulum. I just don't think he was good at his hands when he was with defensive lineman, because I can tell he just looks out of place when he places the hands. He places his hands a lot instead of striking with force. And that, I can already tell the NFL, separation is going to get him killed. So guys who can get defensive ends that can get onto him and be able to extend their arms on the play and being able to create space, if he can't hold them close up here, I don't see him winning much reps. If he doesn't if they have him extended like this, okay? You already know teams watch film like me. Like Vaj says, I'm just a guy with a camera and a microphone. So if I can see it, these defensive ends can see it, man. And lastly, I will say he's just not a finisher. Okay, what I mean by finisher, you may think is just, in the strength. Strength has something to do with it, but finishing is a lot of a mentality. Believe it or not, because some of these, the most under physically gifted tackles I've seen in this draft have great finish, but it's just the mentality they have. They just have that, and I just feel like if you don't have it now, somebody's got to drill it in you. You have to flip a switch somewhere or another. But it may be just not his game, but he just needs to have some type of finish on the play. Just, you don't have to enter the pancake, but I need to see you, put a little bit more oomph into it. A lot of times I see him on the block, get in position, secure the block, and then he lets go. And it's just, when I was in that room, my offensive line coach used to hate that. So I know that at the next level, they're going to somewhat get on him about that. But all in all, I feel like he has a high upside guy. He reminds me of a tackle that my Cowboys took last year, actually, in Tyler Guyton. He may be a slightly more polished, player than Tyler Guyton, but Tyler Guyton was also athletic, can be in front of the guy. He had hand problems as well. I just feel like Tyler Guyton doesn't catch as much as a Membou right now. So I feel like what's keeping Membou from being, a superstar in the NFL is going to be mainly his man body, his strength, his upper body strength, all of that, the strike, the hands, and hand coordination. If he can fix that, Tyler Guyton needs to fix that as well. Maybe get an O-line coach that specializes, in that. boxing, I always said it, like offensive line play is mostly boxing, so getting something like that. But if he can fix that, like there's Tevin Jenkins in the future for him. You know, I like if he can get some type of strength, he will be a hell of a guard. But right now, I don't know if he has the functional strength. You cannot be catching 340 pounds. Imagine him versus Vita Vea. What is his plan versus Vita Vea? You know what I'm saying? I know they commend his anchor, but whew, yeah, everybody got an anchor until they face a Vita Vea. But listen, this kid, as long as he gets better, he will have a solid career. I see what the scouts are seeing. He's a great tester, but there's still a big curve for him to go in the football league. That is Armand Membou out of Missouri, man. If you made it this far, comment down below another guy you want me to talk about. What your thoughts about Armand Membou? Did you love him? Because I never had him really on my list, and I always, scouted the kid. But I appreciate any type of offensive lineman when I get to talk about him. But listen, we do this for the first blame and the last congratulated, man. Until next time. Peace.